today we learned why leaves change colors. Trees are very strong in general. Their trunks, branches, and roots and twigs, they're really capable of surviving the winter and the snow and the sleet and the hail. But the one part of them that is not capable of surviving the winter is their leaves, because they're so fragile and delicate. And either in the winter they have to find a way to somehow protect their leaves, or shed them and then they fall. So the evergreen trees, which are like pines and spruces and firs, they have needle-like leaves which do not fall because they are able to survive the winter because they have sort of a waxy coating on them, which protects them from the cold and the snow. And that waxy coating allows them to survive for years and decades, but when they finally die, they become brown and then they fall off. So the green leaf, it's found in summer and spring, and it comes from chlorophyll, which is from the sun. And actually, leaves all year round have yellow, green, and orange. But the chlorophyll covers the chlorophyll in the green. It masks the yellow and orange, and that's why we only see green leaves, and they're not yellow and orange in the summer and the spring. But when it becomes fall and the days become shorter and there's less sunlight, the trees have a hard time making chlorophyll, and that's when like the yellows and the oranges come out, and that's how most of the colors come. And you can see that they come from keratin and I don't know how to say this, but xanthophyll, and that this is in most trees' leaves. Well, all of them, but sometimes they don't come out. But the anthocyanins is what makes red leaves, and when it's unlike the keratin and xanthophyll, which makes the yellow and orange, and they're in year round. The anthocyanins, they are not in the leaves all year round. But when the trees get ready to lose their leaves, the anthocyanins come out, and then some of the trees, not a lot of them, but some trees get red leaves. And the anthocyanins, they protect the leaves from sun damage, and they lower their freezing point. And so red leaves usually stay on the tree longer because of the anthocyanins. And brown leaves it comes from when the leaves are not healthy anymore, because green and orange and yellow and red leaves are all healthy colors, but brown is the color when the leaf is dead. And usually the leaves die after they fall off the tree, but sometimes you'll see brown leaves on a tree because they're already dead. And the brown color comes from when the leaves aren't healthy anymore, and all the waste comes out, and the waste makes this brown color. And so these leaves so the green and orange and yellow leaves, they're all year round, but then you can see in the fall, it's when the leaves change color, then you know why they come out, because there's less sunlight, and it makes the leaves and it makes the green go away, because the chlorophyll, it needs sunlight, and when there's less sunlight, it doesn't have the room, or well, it it can't well, it can't, there's not enough sunlight for it to produce the green color, and then the yellows and the oranges come out. And then the special trees get the red, because then they get the anthocyanins. And then when the leaves are dead, they become this ugly brown color. And then winter comes, and then all the leaves get covered up. And so, but then these, the little needles for the pine trees, they are able to survive the winter, and evergreen trees, they're called evergreens because they always have their green leaves, like they never change colors. And evergreen trees are the only trees you'll see in the winter with their leaves still on. And so lots of all of the leaves change colors. Some of them turn red, but most of them turn yellow and orange. And those trees are the ones that we make. And the red trees only some of the trees turn red because they have the anthocyanins. And so I like to think of it like the red ones are really special because not all the trees can find the anthocyanins to make their leaves red, and so the red trees are the really special ones. And so that's why. But then in the summer, all the leaves are green because the sunlight is out and the chlorophyll, and that's what makes the green color, and it masks all the other colors, and the leaves turn super vibrant and bright. But then fall comes, and then they all change colors, which is super special because when all the leaves mix, when they all mix colors and they become the reds and oranges and yellows, then they're super fun and colorful. But then winter comes, and then they're all brown and they're dead. And so, and then it doesn't have really any pigment, it doesn't have any chemicals in it, it's just the waste of, it's like the residue from the chemicals, which happens, and then none of the leaves can really, and then they can't keep their color, and they have to let it go, and then the leaves become brown, and then they fall off the tree. But then after winter, when the leaves come back on, then they're all green because the sunlight comes back and the leaves come back, and the first thing they get is that sunlight, which makes them green again. And then the cycle happens over and over, and then it always happens. But somewhere during that cycle, the evergreen needles, they will eventually fall off and die, and then they become brown. But evergreen trees, they don't really have leaves, they have these needles. But then where we have but when the evergreens die, the needles die and they turn brown, but eventually they come back. And so autumn leaves in Europe, they tend to be these yellows, but the U.S. and in East Asia, they seem to favor red leaves. And scientists think that because during the ice ages, many trees evolved to become deciduous, and they produced red leaves to ward off all the insects and to stay alive, because the anthocyanins protected the tree. And because in North America and Asia, they have north to south mountain ranges. And they enabled the north and south spread of plants and animals corresponding with the advance and the retreat of the ice. But then in Europe, the east to west mountain ranges like the Alps, they trapped plant and animal life. And so many tree species and the insects that depended on them, they died out when the ice came. And at the end of the repeated ice ages, the tree species that survived, they didn't need red leaves to cope with the insects, because they were all dead from the ice age. And then they didn't need the red leaves to protect them, so they stopped producing red pigments and they stuck with yellow, and that's why all the and most of the leaves in Europe are yellow in the autumn. And when the leaves get ready to fall and they cast off their leaves, then the chlorophyll production slows down. And then the veins that transport the nutrients and water from the leaf to the rest of the tree, they get closed off because the chlorophyll production is so low. And then the layer of cells at the base of the leaf stem here, called the separation layer, they swell and form this like hard cork-like material, and it severs the tissue that connects the leaf to the branch, and so it's unable to hold on anymore. The leaf falls off, and then the tree it seals the cut, and then when a leaf blows off or it falls, then you see these leaf scars on the trees. I hope you learned now why leaves change colors, and you learned about the chemicals that made them. I thank you for watching this video, and bye-bye.